Hi, I'm Kelsey Zeiser. I'm a senior editor at Light Reading, and you're listening to the Light Reading Extra podcast. And we're here at the Extreme Networks Connect event in Paris, and I'm joined by.
Thank you, Kelsey. My name is Nabil Bukhari. I am the Chief Product and Technology Officer for Extreme Networks, and I also run our subscription business.
Excellent. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role at Extreme Networks.
Yeah, so I always laugh about it. Like, at Extreme, titles are titles, but we're all in it. We just want to get things accomplished. I run all of the engineering and the product side and most of the subscription business. But, most important part there is that at Extreme, we are really about changing the industry. So we are all industry changers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. As opposed to, we talk about innovation. We
Yeah.
use that term a lot. Industry changers is cool. Also wanted to talk about Extreme Platform One. Give us a bit of an overview of that, and then how does that kind of fit into the agenda for this week? If you can give a bit
Yeah.
of a preview.
Absolutely. Like we are here at our user conference, and this user conference is all about Extreme Platform One. But let's just take a swing back. So we announced Extreme Platform One back in December last year. And big question, why did we announce it? What is it? Look, we really felt that in the industry, there are a couple of problems that are plaguing everybody. When you talk about the networking industry or the networking and security industry, kind of combined together, secure connectivity, if you would, and everything that is related to it. Number one, there are too many applications. We always laugh about it. We are in the age of there's an app for it, right? So when you go into your networks, various different vendors, you need like 5, 6, or 7 different applications just from a single vendor to be able to view your entire connectivity, your entire networks across your data center, across your campus, across your branch, Wi-Fi, wired, fabric, all of those things. So you go into that proliferation of application. Now, you could be like, okay, so what's the problem with that? There's two big problems with that. One is that is a fractured operational model. Sometimes people call it swivel chair as well. So you are kind of, looking at one app to find one information and another app to find another information. And yes, all vendors will tell you that, oh, we have APIs, so you can connect them between each other. But there are two realities about APIs. First, nobody has ever really been able to use APIs to really consolidate all of those things. And second thing is that the cost of doing that then resides with the customers, right? So you're adding the cost to customers' environment. The second part there is it's a broken operational model, right? And as I said, and the second one is the licensing stacks up. Now you got to find 7 licenses for different applications, and you buy them differently, and you are renewing them differently. It just adds to a whole lot of complexity. We decided that, look, there has to be a better way to do it. And we decided to put all of these things into a single platform. The beauty of that is no matter what you are doing, whatever you need to do, it's all part of that platform. Second part is by putting it all into the platform, it really allowed us to accomplish 2 additional things. One is hyper personalization. What do I mean by that? Well, it's not just the networking teams that are related to networks. It's the security teams, it's the procurement team, it's the licensing team. In a lot of cases, it's the CMO team, because if you're in hospitality or if you're in venues and stuff, so they are gathering all this information to create revenue generation schemes and stuff. So more and more non-technical teams are related to networks as well. So with the use of Platform One, we are able to hyper personalize everybody's experience. And the last one, we're sitting in May 2025. You can't have a conversation around AI. So it solves a lot of problems with AI as well. What do I mean by that? You have 7 applications, you can put 7 chatbots on it. And now instead of there's an app for it, you go to there's a chatbot for it. But the problem still stays the same. It is fractured operational model. It is fractured data model. So every AI on an app can only do what that app can do. So by taking that AI and embedding it into Platform One, the AI is now pervasive platform wide. So any capability that runs on top of it, any personalization that runs on top of it, any application that runs on top of it has the advantage of a platform wide AI.
Mhm.
So that was really what we wanted to accomplish with Platform One. We introduced it back in December 9th. And now here we are at our user connection, and it's already been LA. So there are hundreds of customers that are already using it. But the big thing is we're going to announce the general availability of Platform One globally to all of our customers. So we're pretty excited about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. And you mentioned some challenges around APIs and that passing on cost to customers. Can you expand a little bit around what those challenges are?
Yeah, absolutely. So just very simply speaking, so you have multiple different applications to do management and security and analytics and so on and so forth. But as a customer, your workflows don't start and end in one application.
Mhm.
You have your ticketing system, you have your backend systems, you have your user devices, you have your security apparatus, you have your networking capabilities, you have your analytics, you have them in data center, you have them in the cloud and stuff. So as a customer, you need to stitch them together. And before the platform one, how do you stitch them together? You take the APIs from all of them and you build your own management veneer and layer at the top of it. That's cost, that's complexity. And most of the times now you're dependent on the APIs of 18 different vendors.
Mhm.
Now, platforms solve that problem for one vendor first. Like, for example, anything and everything that you can buy from Extreme is part of that platform. From a management point of view, from an onboarding point of view, from an orchestration point of view, from an analytics point of view, from a security point of view, from an AI point of view, that's great. Second thing is that, well, what about other vendors? Platforms allow you a quicker, faster way to integrate into the ecosystem, either at the data level or at the services level or at the workflow level, and quite frankly, at all three different levels. So just reducing the overall complexity and overall cost for the customers, not only just for Extreme, but in their entire environment, which will definitely be multi-vendor.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. And then, how is Platform One and perhaps some of your other services helping to automate service provider and enterprise networks?
Absolutely. Look, automation is really critical. But let's just take a step back. Why would you automate, right? So what's the outcome that you're looking for from automation? And they're very simple ones. It's not a, it's not a trick question, if you would. People want to automate for number one, reduce the cost, improve productivity, however you want to kind of talk about efficiency. Second one is it also reduces risk. So the human errors in the middle, or simply the errors that happen, when you're doing the swivel chair, as I described earlier. And that's really the main purpose why you're automating. So in platform one, we decided that, look, there are a lot of ways to automate. People have been automating from the days of scripting, right? You used to write a script and then you went to RPA, and then there was like rule-based, automation, and then there's API-based automation, and then you had like, these infrastructures, a code style automation thing. But in today's world, quite frankly, AI is absolutely well suited to help you with that automation. Actually, that is one place in which AI works really, really well. So we decided that we are going to apply AI to help automate a lot of these functions. And instead of automating features, we decided to automate entire user journeys,
Mhm.
right? So because when a user comes into the platform, they don't wake up one morning and say like, this is a great day to go configure my AP. Right? They come in and say like, look, I really need to provide connectivity, reliable connectivity or user experience to my customers, which are their customers or their
Mhm.
users, no matter where they are. They could be at their homes, which means they're remote users. They could be in a campus. They could be connected to the wired network. They could be connected to the wireless network, whatever the case might be. Now, that's an entire journey. This is a digital experience for your users. That includes configuring wired, wireless, SD-WAN, monitoring wired, wireless, SD-WAN. If
Mhm.
something goes wrong, troubleshooting it and remediating it very quickly. So think journeys, think outcomes.
Mhm.
Platform takes a very different view towards that. It doesn't automate tasks, it automates entire journeys. And in order to do that, we added a lot of various things into the platform. And it's at visualization level, a lot of different things. But I'm going to focus more on the AI part because that's obviously the new one. So, as part of Platform One, we have introduced three different ways to interact with AI. And we are by far the only platform out there in this industry that seamlessly integrates conversational AI, which is kind of like the chatbots,
Mhm.
you talk to it. Yeah. The second one is multimodal. Why multimodal? Because sometimes just talking to a chatbot is not enough. You are creating a report, you are creating a demand curve, you are
Mhm.
creating, an analysis that is not well described in a text, you might want like multimodal, graphics and this and that and stuff.
Mhm.
So the multimodal interface is there. And the last one is just autonomous. Because what is the ultimate goal of automation? The ultimate goal of automation is that there's no human interaction required, and you go from being automated to being autonomous. So Platform One brings the conversational, multimodal, and autonomous modes of AI all combined into one platform very seamlessly.
Mhm.
So Kelsey, what I would say is Platform One doesn't just automate tasks, it automates entire outcomes and entire journeys, and does that in whatever way the user feels comfortable.
Mhm.
I can assist you in doing that, or I can actually just do it for you,
Okay.
right? So the entire spectrum. I know a long-winded answer, but this is really a game changer for the industry, because you're not longer thinking in terms of features and functionalities and tasks. You're
Mhm.
thinking in terms of journeys and outcomes. That really frees up a lot of resources to do other things.
Mhm. What are some examples of some of those business outcomes
Mhm.
that you're achieving for your customers? Maybe looking at different verticals, retail,
Yeah.
finance,
Yeah.
wherever you want to go.
So think about it. Like I'll take a very simple example, an example that resonates with every vertical. In some vertical, it costs a lot more money, and others maybe a little bit less. And that is when shit goes wrong. We all love technology, right? We build technology and everything. When it works, but it will go wrong, right? It's just a matter of when, not an if. So what happens when something goes wrong? Now there is this crazy flurry of activity that starts, and depending on, like, if you are, let's just say, if you're in a stadium and something goes wrong, well,
Mhm.
that's a panic button. Versus if you are in a retail and something goes wrong, that's money, because you're losing money as your
Mhm.
POS systems are down. So what happens at that time? In a typical environment, okay, somebody opens up a ticket and then gets routed to somebody, and the team started looking at it and they're like troubleshooting, they're gathering evidence, and then like, oh, it could be a security problem. And then they go to talk to the security team,
Mhm.
or oh, it could be a storage problem. And they talk to various different teams. And while you're doing it, two things are happening. Time is passing, pressure is building up, and you're losing money, right? You're losing money or you're spending money to fix it. This is a scenario that's present everywhere. So how
Mhm.
is that different in the platform one world, right?
Mhm.
So in platform one world, using all of that platform-wide AI, it's simply that we have created a service agent. It's a service AI agent. The moment something goes wrong, the service agent gets notified. Either you can notify it or it
Mhm.
picks it up based on a ticket that's get open,
Mhm.
and it starts troubleshooting it right then and there. And now what it's doing is it's doing exactly what your teams would do. It would say like, hey, I'm going to check A, B, and C, and then I'm going to go check it with the security agent, and I'm going
Mhm.
to check it with the storage agent. So it's automating the entire process that your teams would do anyways. And while it's doing it, it is telling you exactly what it's doing. So you're not sitting there like, oh my God, this is a black box. Now, it does that. Now, there's two things that will happen. Either it'll figure out what the problem is.
Mhm.
If it figures out what the problem is, it will actually go remediate it after asking for your permission, because human in the loop is really important. And now your problem is already fixed. What could have taken hours or days or months is fixed in minutes with
Mhm.
absolutely minimal amount of cost, right? Now, in some cases, it's not able to fix that. So if it's not able to fix that, then what do your teams do? Like your
Mhm.
teams go into a ticketing system, they open a ticket with a vendor, and the vendor comes back and asks you
Mhm.
18 questions. Did you turn it on? Is the cable plugged in? Is the light blinking? I know I'm tongue in cheek, kind of making a point, but that's really what happens, right? So evidence collection, you can talk about that. So service agent does all the evidence collection for you and opens a ticket for you, and actually not only opens a ticket for you, it checks on your ticket periodically and actually tells you what the status of your ticket is. Entire IT departments, multiple dozens of people spend 8 hours a day, 7 hours a week,
Mhm.
36 days in a year doing this stuff.
Mhm.
In platform one, we use technology, AI kind of at the front of it, but a lot of different technology to just do it for you.
Mhm.
It is an absolute game changer. When I go out and we sell into stadiums quite a bit, and like when a big massive game is happening or a concert, you know, uh, Taylor Swift is playing there, and there's like 100,000 people in the stadium.
Hmm.
Now imagine if anything goes wrong there. And you know how many people they typically have to really take care of that? Maybe a couple of them.
Hmm.
Now imagine with things like Service AI Agent is as if you have 18 additional people, to take care of it. And these
Hmm.
people do not tire and they're constantly working on it. So when you start thinking about it, this is the start of a completely different world. It is a combination of that human experience, human guidance, human oversight, if you would, and then this relentless advancement of technology through AI, all packaged in a way so it can deliver you the value and the outcome cheaper, faster, and and more outcome, if you would.
Hmm.
Long-winded answers, but it's a
No, that's
complicated topic.
that's helpful, and I think it touches on something we hear a lot about in the industry of sort of the dream of automation of filling in the gaps where those IT teams don't have to focus on every all the minutia in that step of the trouble ticket, and that the AI can step in and do that, and they can do the things that they're actually really interested
100%.
and skilled at.
Yeah. Look, one thing I would say, Kelsey, is that look, AI world is really complicated. First,
Hmm.
it's complicated from a technology point of view. Second, we don't do any good on it as an industry. There's AI washing everywhere,
Hmm.
right? And this is why, if you think about it, like, so I travel all around the world and I talk to a lot of our customers and partners and general industry. And if I could summarize, this is what I hear. We get talked about AI all the time, but where's the outcome?
Hmm.
AI is everywhere, but where's the outcome? Where's the ROI? So at Extreme, we don't talk about big promises and platitudes and life-changing sentences and stuff. We simply show the outcome. So you are here at Extreme Connect, and in Extreme Connect, main stage to breakouts, hardly any slides. There are no recorded demos. There are no videos like other vendors out there. There's simply platform running in multiple of our environments and customers' environment, and us showing it live in production environment. So
Hmm.
forget about difficult sentences and like these big words around AI. Let's focus on the outcome for the customer, and that's the difference between us and the rest of the world, right?
Hmm.
Or rest of the industry, if you would.
Right.
Let's just not say rest of the world. That's a little too
Everyone,
big.
yeah.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
And then kind of circling back to the service provider aspect, would it be right to assume that service providers can run Platform One for themselves, or also as a channel partner
Yep.
and as a managed service provider supporting their enterprise customers that are using Platform One?
Absolutely, Kelsey. Actually, it's interesting that you asked me. So, because I just mentioned that Extreme Platform One is already limited availability for a lot of our customers,
Hmm.
but it is already general availability for our MSP partners. So our MSP partners are already using it and taking advantage of it. Because if you think about an MSP partner, these things are even more valuable for them, because they don't just have one customer, they have hundreds and thousands of customers with a very small amount of team. And
Hmm.
think about an MSP business model, transaction cost and the operational cost makes or breaks their business,
Hmm.
because either they have to throw a lot of people at it to provide the service level, that SLA that they have talked to their customers about, that incurs cost, or their customers get upset at them and go to a different MSP. So Platform One is just revolutionary for them because it reduces their transaction costs, because everything is under one license or one consumption model on one side. And the second part is it reduces their operational costs
Hmm.
because they have all of these tools and all of these mechanisms and all of these AI agents and stuff that I just talked about at their disposal. So all of a sudden their teams are 10x, 100x, and that all translates into happier end customers and a more profitable business model. So Extreme Platform One is already general availability to all of our MSP partners, and they are pretty excited about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think just to wrap up, also wanted to loop back to our conversation about stadiums and large venue connectivity. How does Platform One, or Extreme Networks in general, help with connectivity in large venues?
Oh, absolutely. When you come to venues, be it sports, venues like stadiums or stuff, or be it venues like
Those casinos.
yeah, venues like casinos, or big hotels, or the word I'm looking for, like Cedar Fair and stuff.
Oh
What
yeah,
would
like
you call them?
amusement parks.
Amusement parks.
Hmm.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. So whether it is stadiums or amusement parks or big casinos or big airports and stuff, they all have similarities. And what's the similarity? The similarities are, number one, there are lots of people there,
Hmm.
right? So it's either spectators or travelers or what have you, right? Or that's one part. Second part is it is absolutely real time, right? You can't say like, oh, by the way, here's a game going on. Like, oh, something went wrong. Don't worry about it. We'll be back in 30 minutes. No, can't do that. Or God forbid, in a airport or something like that. So they're mission critical and they're real time. That's number two. Number three is they are complicated. There are thousands of systems in the background, and they're like, just you think from a spectrum point of view, there are thousands of users trying to connect, all the time. So venues are very unique from that point of view. A lot of people, it is real time and mission critical, and it is very complex. And we have a dominant market share when it comes to this because our technologies have generally tended to be very well suited for these environments. Now, what does Platform One bring on top of all of the differentiation that we have all on top of it? It brings in the ability, number one, to reduce that time from if something happens to when I can fix it. That's number one. That's the real time
Hmm.
criticality of it. Number two, it provides you more insights, more knowledge, and more outcomes than anything else out there. Because
Hmm.
remember, from a platform point of view, Extreme Platform One, everything that we sell is included in it. So it's not just Wi-Fi, it is not
Hmm.
just wired, it's not just SD-WAN, it's not just our universal ZTNA, it's not just our venue analytics, all of those things in one place. So it really highlights those advantages around efficiency and cost, especially for venues and stuff. Um, and this is obviously one of the first verticals that we decided to introduce, Platform One into.
Hmm.
Uh, that's what it is. As I said earlier at the start of it, we are industry changers. We are the ones that challenge the status quo. Just because networking has been done one way for the last 30 years,
Hmm.
or just because the dominant player in the market still does it one way, there's no reason that that should not be changed. But somebody has to change that.
Hmm.
And that is the role that we assign to ourselves. We come in, we look at a problem, and we say, how can we solve it better? How can we do it faster?
Hmm.
How we can provide value more cost effectively? How can we reduce months into minutes and minutes into an instant? And how can we turn it can't be done to it's already done? And that pretty much describes Extreme Platform One.
Hmm. Excellent. Yeah. I imagine with venues, everyone is posting to social media because if they don't, it never happened, right?
Yeah.
And wanting to have that connectivity, and then you have point of sale systems, and like you
I
said,
mean,
very
th-
complicated.
th- think about it, right? Our entire society runs on connectivity.
Hmm.
You and I are like talking here. I'm like, this is going to get streamed. That's connectivity. It's getting
Hmm.
recorded, through a wireless mic. That's connectivity as well. I mean, everything that we do as a species, as a society, is all built on top of connectivity. So connectivity is not optional.
Hmm.
Connectivity is, I wouldn't even say mission critical because that doesn't even describe what it is foundational, right? And it's just not connectivity. It is connectivity that is secure. It is connectivity that provides you the experience and the SLA and that you really require. It's a connectivity that connects people, applications, devices, and data seamlessly, no matter where they are. So when you start thinking about it, you don't think networks. You think this organic thing that is just connecting everybody and everything, and it's constantly changing and has always got to stay up.
Hmm.
When you start thinking about it this way, then you don't go out trying to build a switch or an AP. You go out trying to build the connective tissue of our society. And that is how we think about it. And that is why Extreme is different than any other vendor in this space, because we are solving a different value equation compared to perhaps most of our competitors out there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great place to leave it. Thanks so much for your time, and hope the event goes well this week.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you for being here. And hopefully you will, all the things that I'm talking about, you'll see them live. So I'm not one of those people who are just saying things. We at Extreme, we show it. So hopefully you'll get to see it. Thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to you.
You too. Looking forward to it.